Okay, we're live. Melissa's going to be joining us shortly. A lot of big news breaking that I'm going to have to talk about later on today. For now, we're going to catch up with Melissa. We're going to see what's good with her in a few minutes when she joins us. I hope all of you out there are having a good evening and a good afternoon. A good afternoon here in America and a good evening over there in the United Kingdom and wherever else in the world you people are. I don't know. And lots to discuss, lots to mull over. I'm going to ask Melissa about her career and what's going on right now, any changes that might have happened the last couple of weeks. I'm going to ask her what she thought about the Shannon Courtenay versus Ebony Bridges fight and which one of them would she like to fight, because we know Melissa likes to fight, octagon or the boxing ring. Girl like to fight. That's what she does. All right, what's goody, DLG Image Creations? What's good with your Michael? What's good with your Concha? What's good with your actual facts? We out here, man. I've been practicing my butt naked somersault technique that I talked about in my last live video about the street fight. I'm just playing. Let me stop playing. Buried Rhythms was good. All right, there's Melissa. Here she comes.
I got it.
All right, what's good with the both of y'all? Everyone, I'd like to introduce to you Melissa Oddessa, in case you're not familiar with her. And your name, sir?
I'm Gary Lewis. With Signature Punch, yeah.
All right, so talk to us about the recent changes. Like, I know about them already, but just let everybody know what's going on right now.
Yeah, so, I recently signed with Mr. Gary Lewis with Signature Punch Promotions. And, we're about to make some history.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, when can we expect to see you in the ring again? And just very briefly, what led to the change, if you're comfortable discussing that.
Yeah, one of the things that I really want to make sure I advocate for is women's boxing. I don't want to just be a women's boxer. I also want to represent us. And sometimes, unfortunately, there's going to be people you think that have your best interests at heart, but sometimes they get ahead of themselves and they think about what's in their best interest. And I, unfortunately, was in that situation where I didn't feel respected and valued as a female boxer. And I'm not willing to fight under certain circumstances and when it doesn't feel right, because this is something I love to do and have a passion for. So it was just time to change up my management and change up my training team. And now things are falling into place.
All right. So, before we get into anything else, when can we expect to see you in the ring again? Is there a tentative fight date?
19.
Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. She'll be in the ring June 19th at Title Night 2 in Miami, Florida. It'll be at the DoubleTree, the Miami Airport and Convention Center. And the big announcement today is she'll be fighting for a world title. She'll be fighting for the IBO world title.
Yeah,
I'm happy for you. Because I knew you wanted to fight for a title. I remember you told me before you wanted to fight for a title. They were giving you a hard time with the, I believe it was the IBF. They were giving you a hard time. They wanted you to have 5 professional fights before you were eligible to fight for a world title. Yeah. So very happy for you when it comes to that.
And, now I'm in one of those positions where a lot of females don't want to get in there with me. So we got to put them in the position to where I become a mandatory, so they step up, because I'm also coming down to 118. So I'm coming for that whole division.
No, yeah, and that's a good division for you, because that's where Ebony Bridges is. That's where Shannon Courtenay is. Maria Cecilia Roman is also there. I think she still got the belt there.
Oh, yeah. And I want to shut everybody up and fight her again, because I do not like how close people think that fight was. And there's a few, but
it was a good fight. I think what surprised people is that she was able to take the punches as well as she did. She was taking a lot of shots to the body, and she was giving some. But what I noticed is she was getting some too. That, like, yeah, you trying to play Melissa close to the chest, and you getting off punches, but you getting hit too, though. Like, you getting hit with straight shots, you getting hit with body shots. So I'm like, I think I had it 6-3 in your favor when I was scoring it. And I see like 2 swing rounds, maybe something like that, to where, yeah, it's close, but I don't really see Maria winning the fight. She put up a good fight, but I didn't see her winning the fight.
No step.
So, that being said, I wanted to ask you what you thought about Bridges versus Courtenay.
I thought it was a good fight. It was two women who are in a good matchup because their talent experience level was about the same, and you were able to see that. And that's when you get some great fights. It showed, where Bridges is, and I think with more experience and time, she's gonna be like a legit threat to some people. A lot of people were sleeping on her, like, oh, she's just doing it for attention and stuff. No, I knew him when she went to Cali West to train. I was like, this girl ain't playing. She in here to fight, and she showed that she could have won that fight. And I actually believe her. If it wasn't for the injury, I think she possibly could have pulled it off towards the end of the fight. But now we're gonna be able to see a rematch in the future. Now I'm gonna get in the mix, and let's see how they can handle it going against the bigger little dogs because Courtney's now she's see look you got me saying her name wrong. It's Courtney. I'm saying Courtney because of you. Right? But she just went to war with someone that she shouldn't have been. If we're keeping it real, you call yourself a world champion level fighter. That should have been a one-sided fight, and it wasn't. It was a war. So
Well,
now
that's what
what's
I
gonna
wanted to ask
happen?
you. Did you feel any criticisms that there were? Because I saw people complaining that it was for a title. Like there were people that felt that fight with them, it's a good fight, but it shouldn't be for a title. Did you feel that that fight should have been for a title?
So this is how I feel now, right? We need to fill up these vacant belts. So we're at a point where we could complain about the matchups we have, or we can have a start. If the belt's vacant, that's a completely different situation. If no one else fighting for it, let them. They have winning records,
Absolutely.
and they fulfilled the requirement for what it takes to be able to fight. But now you're champion, so now you got to deal with having a target all over you because now everybody wants you, and that's where it's going to show whether you're a true champion or not. Because for women's boxing, the issue isn't getting the belt; it's can you keep it, and when you step up, what's going to happen? Fight or flight. Look what happened with Amanda Serrano. That should have been a one-sided fight too. That's a small girl. She got into a war with her. How are you gonna hold your own at bigger weights? I'm coming down to a smaller weight where I'm comfortable. Weight cutting isn't hard for me at 118. So I'm gonna be strong. My cardio's gonna be there, my gas tank's gonna be there. What you gonna be able to do? Because Courtney had moments where she didn't have answers and she couldn't handle those clean punches that Bridges landed. That's a red flag.
I would say so. I mean, well, I'll put it this way, and I'm glad that you brought up that fight because I wanted to ask you about that. Haven't seen you since that fight. Serrano and Bermudez. I was surprised how good Bermudez looked because she almost went the distance before she got stopped. And Bermudez is from 118, 122. She ain't no featherweight. She ain't no real 126-pound girl. And I looked at her, I'm like, yo, she's kind of off to a good start. Like, this fight really shouldn't be that hard. I give her credit, but I was thinking about how does that look for Amanda? So, what is your opinion on that the fight looked the way that it did? Do you think it reflected poorly on Amanda that the fight looked the way that it looked?
For the way she talks now and her team talks, most definitely. You're a 7 division world champion. You talk about how you're one of the strongest fighters out of all the women. You're one of the greatest. So when you fight someone who's much smaller than you should be like manhandling them, to be honest. You should be all over them. You were getting hit a lot. Like she got hit a lot. I was like, man, how's she gonna hold her own against the bigger girls if she can't even hold her own against Bermudez? No wonder she avoids 130. I would avoid 130 if I couldn't take punches either. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna say,
I'm, call it like it is. Like I'm already blocked. So what
now
else?
because I gotta be neutral. I gotta try to be neutral because I don't want like they already mad at me for some things I said. They mad at me, but I'm like, yo, I'm not.
World.
Well, they're gonna get even madder because Melissa's coming. I mean, the goal is simple. The goal is we're gonna clean up the 118 division, so everybody's on notice. We're putting everybody on notice right now. If you got a belt, we're coming. All the vacant belts, we're gonna get them. It's simple. And then when we leave there, we're gonna go to 122 and we're gonna clean that one up. See, the goal is she'll have 3 belts by My goal is for her to have 3 belts by December. And
Mm.
after that, we're gonna target the rest of them.
I'm
So
gonna say this. I believe that she can get them. I ain't just being nice. I believe you can be unified at that weight. I believe it because of the amateur background, because of what I've seen so far. Because and I like I like Ebony, I like Shannon, but they really don't have the amateur background that you have. Like they don't have that,
and they don't
and
have that left hand either. And they don't have that left hand either. They don't have that left hand. Amateurs, pro, whatever. They don't have the left hand. They don't have the dog she has in her. This was my number one get. My whole mission at Signature Punch was to go get Melissa Oddessa Parker. The moment I realized she was on the market, I stopped everything. I told nobody in my team to even breathe until I get her on the phone.
I dig it.
And listen, the game plan is set. It's all and they've been measured and they about to be weighed. So if they got a belt, they got a choice. I'm gonna give them an option. They can FedEx their belt to Signature Punch Training Center to stop them from getting this ass whooping, or they can get in the ring and get it. But it's coming, and it's a worldwide notice from the US to the UK.
I'm gonna say this. I like your chances against any of them. But I'm not gonna bullshit you because I'm not gonna bullshit you. I'll say right now, given what's going on, I would say the most experienced champion that's coming to your division is the girl from Denmark, Dina Thorsland. She's coming down to 118 for the WBO. I think she got like 18 fights. Everybody else, very good chances of winning. Very good chances.
Yeah, that's going to be a good matchup when we finally face each other. I think it's going to be good because we both like to engage and we're not afraid to take chances in order to, get the better of the person. So I think just like the Courtney and Bridges fight, how it's just about putting good matches where people are evenly experienced and in how they fight. I think that her and I are closer in like our experience and what we're able to do and deliver as fighters.
Now, I wanted to ask, in reference to that fight, I saw a lot of people like Shannon O'Connell, very experienced fighter, many years in the industry. They basically looked at Shannon and Ebony as novices almost. Were there any glaring deficiencies in those fighters that perhaps stood out to you? Because to me, it looked like a good even fight, but I noticed that there were some out there who were not impressed. Some of the fighters out there, they're not impressed. They're like, yeah, it's good for them, but basically the story is good for them, but I beat both their ass. Is that the feeling that you have?
It is because it depends on how you're watching the fight too. Are you watching it as just a fan and a spectator, or are you watching it as a fighter? I watched it as a spectator because if we're going to call a spade, they're no threat to me. So I wasn't watching it in the sense of let me see what they got. I kind of had an idea, and you could see the lack of experience where they would be effective with certain things, but they wouldn't follow up on it. Or when you hurt the person, not knowing how to get the finish or adding to those combinations. So for me, when I was watching it, it looks good. But now when you start critiquing and seeing certain things, that's when you could pinpoint what makes the difference in them not having that experience and needing more ring time in order to get those things down pat. Like Bridges in the first round, Courtney was hitting her with these uppercuts. Bridges didn't know what to do. Courtney comes out in the second round. Bridges jumps on top of her. She didn't know how to create space. She didn't continue doing what was effective. She got caught up in Bridges, and Bridges started tagging her like white on rice. So those are the things that are going to come into play with more experience. I'm already there. I don't need to learn those adjustments. I just need to make sure I'm doing them.
Now, I also wanted to get, and I want to get both y'all opinions on this. Y'all know about the circus fight this weekend with Jake Paul, Ben Ash. I gotta ask people; it's in the news. Feel me? So, just I want to get your thoughts on this first. Then, Melissa, what you think about what he's doing? Like, how do you perceive him fighting that wrestling guy, MMA guy, in a boxing ring?
Man, watching what he's able to do boils my blood. Like, how can you get all this money being a clown? Like, it's so frustrating. But if people support it, it's gonna work. It's doing well because people are tuning in. People are purchasing it. And that's where promoting yourself and remembering that even though you're a fighter, you're still in the entertainment industry. You got to pull the fans in. And that's a perfect example of doing that, whether you agree with it or not. I didn't watch the fight. I don't support it.
Yeah.
If he wants to fight a boxer, I may grab some popcorn and watch. But man, did you see Ben throw himself on the ground after getting hit? He said, "I'm getting paid," and went down to the ground.
Right. Yeah, I don't support the gimmick stuff either. It's gimmick, and and like she said, it's hurting the sport because you got people out here that's training every day. They're putting the sweat, the tears in, and they're grinding. To support this sport of boxing, and then we have a network come in and pay all this money and promote this gimmicky guy off YouTube, to call himself a boxer. I mean, if you want to do that, tell you what, get in shape, line yourself up against a real pro in your weight class, and let's see if you can avoid that ass whooping. And then, and then maybe I'll spend the whatever they charge for that pay-per-view to see you fight. Other than that, I mean, it's kiddie entertainment to me. It's millennial entertainment. You got robots walking around the arena. I mean, that stuff is gimmicky. Social media, YouTubers, entertainment. I'm in the sport.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Do you feel like what he's doing is taken away from the sport? Because I've seen a lot of people that's in the industry and they all divided. Some are saying that, oh, well, it's bringing a new set of eyes to boxing. Other people are saying, nah, this is embarrassing. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, should not be going on.
The problem is boxing does need something new, but that's not what they need. They need something like Title Night, where every matchup is a quality matchup. People are tired of tuning on to these networks and you don't watch the first 6-7 fights on the undercard. You just watch the co-main, the main. But if you watch Title Night, you're gonna get a fight from the first fight to the last. And next time we'll have 4 belts on the line. There'll be 4 championship fights in there, whether it's the USBO or the Intercontinental or World title. See, that's what boxing needs. They need quality fights.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Network, and then you go to the fight. Half the people at the concession for the first 3 fights. If you're watching at home, they're in the kitchen drinking a beer because no one wants to watch that garbage. And that's what boxing needs. They need quality fights, and that's why I started Title Night, because my goal is for every single bout to be a championship bout of some sort, so that the quality of the fights are there. And then now when you tune into the network, from the time you sit down to the main event, you're going to get a quality fight. That's what it needs. It doesn't need that gimmicky stuff. It's just a production magnet. That's all. They got more lights and more shine and more robots walking around. That we don't need that. We need quality fights. True boxing fans want to see people box.
Yeah.
We're still missing that connection. You go on these UFC and mixed martial arts apps, and let me tell you, I've never paid for so many subscriptions to watch fights. My goodness. Are those tax write-offs? Yeah. But you go there and you see all this content on the fighter.
Behind the scenes.
And that's what's missing in boxing. And I think that once we can fill in that gap, that will bring more people back to boxing, because now people want storylines. People want build-up. We don't really have that with the matchups. They're random matchups, if we're being honest. You don't see a lot of rematches. Now it's starting to happen. Now you're having qualifiers and tournaments towards being a champion. Those are the things that I feel is going to bring back excitement.
And that's what made Florida and them guys so great. We was watching them on All Access and 247. We saw the build-up. We got a chance to take a peek behind the curtain and see what the training regimen was and see what they were going through. So it led you to that main event fight when you was anticipating and seeing what the outcome's going to be. And she's right. MMA does a great job of giving you a peek behind the curtain. They give you a great job of getting to know the fighters.
I think that what the problem that we're facing in America, because I look abroad and I see that the matchups are more even. I look abroad everywhere else but America, And I'm like, the reason the boxing scene here is like this is because you don't get that Ray Mercer versus Burt Cooper fight no more. Feel me? You don't get fights where it's even and both guys got a chance. I tune in and it's one guy who's a massive favorite with the bookies versus a no-hoper. And it's like the networks think that the fans don't know. Like, I know that the guy don't have a chance. You need to make that Charlo versus Andre, that Crawford versus Spence, because that's what the fans here is asking for. And that's what we not getting.
Yeah, look at the Sanisha fight. Look at the difference. When she fought an old girl that she knocked out within seconds, it did the opposite of what everyone thought. That shit wasn't cool. It was like, what the heck? But then she fought a legit champ. She looked phenomenal. Even showed boat a little. I was like, okay, go, mommy. Like, you fighting. And she stopped the girl. And now look at the light it's bringing. That's the kind of stuff we need to continue. Some of these matchups are now like really good matchups. Marlene's about to actually fight someone, a quality opponent, not another defeated MMA fighter. You know, you have I know things are in the talks for Jessica McCaskill. You have Gabriel's that just fought. So now we're starting to see these girls go against each other, and that's what it's gonna take to make it exciting. So yeah, I agree. That too.
I mean, I think it's the men that's falling behind, to be honest, because if I keep up with the both of them, not yet. That's my son coming over here. The females seem to have more even contests with the guys, because when I look at the guys, it's always guy versus no hoper. Guy that has a lot of promotion versus guy that has no promotion.
The Uber driver.
You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, dog, until that changes, like, it's going to be the same thing here in this country. Because I feel here in this country, this was the mecca of boxing. If you wanted to box or you wanted to get the best boxers or you wanted to watch the best boxing matches, that was America up until, I'll say, the Klitschko era. When the Klitschko era came, it became more global. You started seeing less American heavyweights and the focus wasn't really here. Now that Mayweather retired and everything, it's like, yo, everybody trying to be Floyd, but we don't get them Floyd quality matchups. We're not getting them.
So let's just tune in the women's boxing. We don't mind.
Yeah, and everybody's coming out of retirement now.
We don't mind.
Word, right?
They tune in the women's boxing, see some good quality matches. I'm good with that.
So that being said, I gotta pick your brain now with a little bit of trivia. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. Who's gonna win that fight?
You know, as much as I want to say AJ, you know, Tyson's he's just a phenom, bro. He's big. He boxes. He moves well. He's cagey. He's smart, and hell, you know he's tough because anybody can get up off the canvas from that Wilder punch. They gotta have something special. So when you look at all those things, I mean, you know, I have to lean towards. I bet against him one time. I ain't gonna once a dummy, twice a fool. You know, it's hard to bet against him. So,
I am. I think he's gonna get knocked out. I got a gut feeling he's gonna get knocked out, but it is what it is. We bet with your bookie. Melissa, who do you have winning the fight?
I feel the same way. I don't want to see him win, but I think Fury has this, and I don't think AJ's the same fighter anymore. I don't think he's going to have that dog in him after experiencing what he's experienced in his past few fights. Fury still got that dog in him. He's coming for him.
Yeah, and because of people saying the things you're saying about Fury, you're giving him that fuel. You know, you're giving him fuel. People still don't believe in this guy. And I'll say that's not true. The thing about Fury is at least for me, the year of inactivity bothers me. He hasn't fought since February 22nd last year. This fight supposed to go down in either July or August. That right there is 17 months of not fighting. I don't like that. If you're going to be sharp, this is the biggest fight of your career. You want to be sharp. He ain't even had a tune-up fight since then. So I don't like the way that looks. Now, if it wasn't for that, okay, we talking about a real 50-50. But because he ain't fought, I don't like that. That don't, that's ring rust.
You know, everybody don't need a tune-up fight. Look at Spencer when he fought what's his name? He just
Danny Garcia.
Yeah, not a lot of people expected him to do as well. I had him winning, but I didn't think he was going to look that good. To me, he looked good. He did very well against him.
I'm gonna be honest. I had Danny. I had Errol. I figured, yeah, Errol's gonna beat the hell out of this guy. He's gonna beat the hell out of this guy.
It's
That's
just some, it's just some people just special, man. And Errol's won, Fury's won, Melissa Parker's won. They're just special. They're just different. It is different, and they prove it every time. I'm not betting against him. I mean, I love to see AJ win, but it's hard for me to go against Fury, man.
all right. Now let's talk Spence Crawford. Who wins that fight?
It ain't going to happen. It don't matter.
Yeah.
You right. Yo, you right. We shouldn't even talk. Let's skip that fight. Charlo Andre.
Huh?
Charlo Andre, 160 pounds.
Kind of. Charlo.
Charlo?
Charlo.
I think
all right.
pull it out.
All
Because
right.
I don't know. He struggles when the pressure's on. Andre, like, man, get in the pocket and fight.
Yeah.
Just let them hands go. It's there. I used to see him do it in the amateurs. Like, he got it. But
I'll say the reason I'm not sold on Charlo is that Korobov fight. I know Korobov, southpaw, like Demetrius Andre, not as tall, not as young, very injury prone. And I remember that Korobov fight, and I'm like, wow, Korobov he can't miss him with the straight left hand. And I'm like, all right, well, if that's Andre, who's fresher and younger and taller, it'll probably make him look even worse. So I go Andre for that one. Y'all got Charlo, I got Andre.
all right.
What about Katie Taylor? Not that they're gonna fight, because they not. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. What do you think about that fight?
I actually think Amanda could beat her.
Really?
But I don't think she has the confidence and the right team in order to be able to do it.
Mm.
And that's just what it is.
No, I dig it. I dig it.
Yeah. Just some people, they bring out that fear in you, you know? And once that latch is on, you already lost.
Well, just to get your perspective on that, because they ended up not fighting. And if I'm being honest, I don't think they're ever going to fight. I just think that they want an amount of money that I don't know that they're going to get. I don't know if Eddie's going to give it to them. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the reality of things. But what was your view of that situation? Do you think that the reason things happened the way they did was because of a lack of confidence?
I believe that when you don't want something to happen, you will find every excuse in the book.
I agree.
You don't go to DR for $20,000 for a tune-up fight, but won't take $60,000 for the biggest fight. And then I heard it was supposed to be even more than that. But the point is that would have been the beginning stages to place you in a position for better pay.
Absolutely.
Amanda could be making Katie money, but you got to fight Katie opponents. You can't just fight these girls with losing records and having rematches with them and then fighting for these vacant titles against people no one knows. And then you want the kind of money that the kind of girls that are pulling in the streamers and the pay-per-view buys. You're not doing that because no one knows you. But you make the same kind of money. It's also like Eddie Hearn said, as a world champion, whether you're male or female, what kind of money are you bringing in? And this is a business. This isn't the amateurs. So once you become more business-minded, notice how she's talking now. Oh, he wants to see this and he wants to see that. Well, one, he's not talking about you, sweetie. But two, hey, step up and then talk about money. But don't talk about money when nobody really knows who you've been fighting and you haven't even had TV time. No one's pushing you. The only one pushing you is your manager. Now you got the Bella, but y'all need to do something before you can start calling out the big fish and want the money that comes with it. Unless you're going to front the money. If you want to fight that bad.
Yeah, you put up that's been the train of thought that I've had, that if you didn't want to fight in his backyard, right? Cool. Because of the COVID, cool. Well then you put up the money then.
Yeah,
you set it up. Because it's a common sense argument.
Yeah,
now
champions and we going after them. What's it gonna take? What's up?
I dig it. And not for nothing, I feel that she could have had the fight and lost the fight. Look at Jessica McCaskill. Jessica had the fight and she lost the fight, but look at how it turned out. She ended up making more money off of that L than this girl was making off of them W's. Why? Because you got to get in there and fight.
Yeah, look at Bridges. Bridges for Courtney, and now she's about to be making more money than most of us who have been boxing 3 times as long.
And at some point, you just got to fight. You got to fight somebody at some point. You can't be world champion and not fight anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You got to fight somebody.
You got to fight other champions.
Yeah, somebody of substance. And then that's when you can start talking money.
Mm.
You know?
That's why I think the fight is never going to happen, because they talking about an amount of money. It's like, yo, dog, like, they're not going to give you 40% of that fight, dog. Like, you crazy. Like, 40% of a Taylor fight. Like, you crazy. But
I think
God bless her.
Bridge. I'll get a fight with Katie before she do.
Probably.
Hey, just like Clarissa, you got to be careful what bridges you burn. I'm not saying kiss ass. Keep it real. But at the same time, it's supposed to be about making the fight happen, not talking the wrong kind of crap. It's one thing to talk crap to your opponents. But now when we're dealing with promoters and managers and those who can make it happen, you go behind closed doors. But then you don't complain and not give the full story, because we live in the digital age. Everybody pulls stuff up. And we were able to pull it up and see like, oh, wait, they offered you how much and you said no? You never made that much before. You tripping.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like that. Like the Showtime sports president, Stefan Espinosa. I was having a conversation on Twitter. And I brought up the offer that Clarissa said that she offered to Cecilia Breakers. So the Stefan Espinosa asked me and says, we never made Cecilia Breakers an offer. So I'm like, wow, like it's the digital era. Like, the information is out there. If you're looking for it, the information is out there. So it's hard to hide your sins or you know, stuff like that. Like, you gotta stop talking like that, because people got receipts. I still got the screenshot that the dude told me, yo, we never made Cecilia Breakers an offer. So I'm like, so why's Clarissa running around telling people that she ducked it if y'all never made an offer? That don't make sense. You know what I mean? And now she going to MMA. I'm not happy about that. I wish she didn't have to do that. Yeah. Because
you thought I was even boxing. See, I'm still here.
Here. It's like, you know, mixed martial arts. Like, you come from that, feel me? And when I see her doing it, it bothers me, because I'm like, well, I don't like her personality, but it still bothers me, because she shouldn't have to do that. To get paid, she shouldn't have to do that. But It is what it is.
I agree.
I'm going to plead the fifth, because Clarissa, can we be friends again? I know I pissed you off, but
she mad at everybody, man. She mad at me. She mad at everybody, man.
I'm tired of these pro boxers blocking me. Like, can we be friends?
Well, because they scared you gonna beat their ass. That's what that is. Like, they scared you whoop their ass. Like,
I'm telling you, we live in the blocking era now. You don't like something, just hit that little button.
Well, this ain't that Larry Holmes era where your leg drops somebody off a car. They just not like that anymore, man. They're not like that anymore. That Trevor Burbick, Larry Holmes era. So we can expect to see you back in the ring mid-June, correct?
June 19th.
June 19th. And it will be for the IBO title.
Absolutely.
All right. Always a pleasure. Look forward to having you on again. Best wishes. Stay COVID-free and enjoy your day.
All right.
Talk to you soon.